come back. If you find this helpful, consider liking, subscribing, or following. It's free. All right. We're looking at parallel lines and perpendicular lines. So we want to determine equations of lines when you are given a line perpendicular to it or a line parallel to it. The first thing we should remember that if two lines are parallel, if AB is parallel to CD, then then the gradient of AB will be equal to the gradient of CD. This happens if and only if the two lines are parallel to each other. And then for the second one, we are talking about perpendicular lines. If two lines are perpendicular, then the product of their gradients will be equal to -1. So we are saying here, if AB is perpendicular to CD, then M of AB multiplied by M of CD should be equal to -1. So we are saying the gradient of AB times the gradient of CD should give us -1 if these two lines are perpendicular to each other. Now let's determine the equations of these lines. Determine the equation of a line passing through point -1 is to 1 and parallel to the line y minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. Remember, to determine the equation of a line, you need two things. You need the coordinate on that line, and you also need the gradient. We do not have gradient of this line here, but we do have a line which is parallel to the line that we want to establish. So let's get the gradient from this line. For us to get gradient here, we need to rewrite it in the standard form. Y is equal to mx plus c. I believe you are now well accustomed to this one. You've been using it since grade 9. Y is equal to mx plus c. To do that, we take these two terms to the other side. So we have y is equal to -2x becomes 2x, and then minus plus 1 becomes -1. So our gradient in this case, therefore, our gradient here is equal to 2. So this also is going to be the gradient for this line, because we are told that the two lines are parallel. So let's determine the equation of the line that we want, with the gradient being 2 and the coordinate on that line being -1 is to 1. We are substituting into that formula y. No, I do not want this one. Y minus y1 is equal to the gradient multiplied by x minus x1. We are substituting into this formula. So it's y minus your y1, there is a 1, is equal to our gradient is 2, and then x minus our x1, there is a -1, and then we close our bracket. So it's y minus 1 is equal to, this one becomes positive because we have a double negative there, so it's 2 times x is 2x, and then 2 times 1 is plus 2, because this is a positive here. And then your 1 goes to the other side, where y is equal to 2x plus 2 plus 1. So the equation then will be y is equal to 2x plus 3. And then for the second question, determine the equation of the straight line that passes through the point and perpendicular to this line. This time we are not given parallel lines, but we are given perpendicular lines. We do not have the gradient for the line that we want to determine here, but we are given the equation of a line perpendicular to that line. And we know that if two lines are perpendicular, the product of their gradients is -1. That is, if we multiply their gradients, we get -1. So we're going to use this equation here to determine the gradient that we want. First step, let's get the gradient of this line by writing it in standard form. Y is equal to mx plus c. y is equal to mx plus c. Take the 2x to the other side, so it's y is equal to negative 2x plus 1. So our m here is negative 2. This is the gradient of this line here. M is equal to negative 2. But we want the gradient for the line that is perpendicular to this one. And we know that if we multiply these two gradients, we get negative 1. So substitute this into that one. We have a negative 2 multiplied by the gradient that we are looking for, and this is going to be equal to negative 1. So we've just substituted the gradient that we have, and by rearranging it, we'll get the gradient for the line that is perpendicular to this one. We do that by dividing both sides by a negative 2. So your m here will be equal to negative 1 over negative 2, which is equal to 1 over 2. So the gradient that we want for the line passing through negative 2s to negative 4 is is positive 1 over 2 there. Now let's substitute into this formula there. Y minus, this is a negative 4 there, so it's minus 4 is equal to, our gradient is 1 over 2 bracket x minus, this is a negative 2, so it's minus 2 there, close the bracket. Double negative gives us a positive, so it's 1 over 2x plus 2, and then take your 4 to the other side. Y is equal to, distribute there, 1 over 2x, 1 over 2 times 2, it gives us a 1, and then the 4 goes to the other side, it becomes negative 4, and therefore the equation here is y is equal to 1 over 2x minus 3. So we are saying this line here is perpendicular to this line, and this is the line that is the gradient of 1 over 2, and it passes through negative 2s to negative 4. That's all I have for